Almost every time I talk about Sony, it's because they've censored a new game, which is so disappointing because I used to really love Sony and PlayStation. But now I almost never buy games on the platform unless I 100% know they're not censored, and tons are censored now. But sadly, there is another PlayStation title changed because companies think the female form is bad. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So this is a Sankaku Complex article. It says, Amazing Princess Sarah PS4 trailer censors the heroine's cleavage. Of course, more cleavage censored. Over the past few months, I have had to talk about a lot of game censorship where cleavage is censored and the female form is toned down. I mean, it has gotten absurd, but this is just another example. It says another port released on the PlayStation 4 has implemented a ludicrous change as artwork for the main heroine of Amazing Princess Sarah has been altered to cover up the woman's cleavage, a turn of events that probably won't even surprise most people familiar with Sony's censorious ways at this point, and unfortunately, it's not that surprising to me. I talk about a lot of censorship, and a lot of the time it's because of Sony forcing developers to censor games being put on PlayStation platforms. I wish that it wasn't this way. I wish that we could just, as adults, enjoy the content we want to enjoy, whether that's a attractive female or an attractive male, whether that's cleavage, whether it's a bulge, whatever it may be, it really doesn't matter. If it's violence, if it's gore, it shouldn't be censored. We are adults who should be able to consume the type of product we want to consume. It says the launch trailer for the PS4 port of Amazing Sarah and the censored artwork. And this game actually looks pretty cool. I personally hadn't heard about this before reading about the censorship, but after watching some gameplay, I'm honestly impressed. The UI is very clean, the icons look really good, the backgrounds look great, the enemy types look awesome. I mean, this actually looks like a pretty solid game. But it says the official Steam version of the game from 2014 had the uncensored art by way of its trailer. Now, this is also a little bit surprising to hear that it wasn't censored on Steam, because unfortunately Steam is also very censorship heavy, but it does say that it released back in 2014. So it is before the time frame when they started to really crack down on nudity, cleavage, dialogue in titles that they don't like. But it says the PlayStation Store also used the censored art for both its icon and its page. This is just very disappointing. I don't know why the female form is so bad now. I don't know why we have to cover up the female form as a woman. It's honestly more offensive to see companies go out of their way and demand developers tone down women's bodies, cover them up, than seeing a woman with her breasts basically out. I'd rather see the nudity than know the fact that this company demanded censorship. This company also, unfortunately, has demanded a lot of censorship from developers, and it is always sad to see a developer censor their title to get it onto a platform. I understand that at the end of the day, they need to sell as many copies of their game as possible, and they feel like putting it on the PlayStation 4 will make it so that they can sell a bunch more copies of the title. But I wouldn't purchase it on the PlayStation 4. I know a lot of other people wouldn't purchase it on the PlayStation 4 while it's censored, and I'd rather see devs stand their ground and say, if you're forcing us to tone down our game, we're not going to release it on your platform. And unfortunately, this isn't the first time I've had to talk about women's bodies being covered up in games. This was from back in April. It says Poki and Rocky Reshrine confirmed censored on both PlayStation 4 and the Switch for the West. It's just another instance of the female form being covered. It says the censored trailer for Poki and Rocky Reshrined was a sign of things to come, as screenshots for the Western version of the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch editions censored one of the characters' cleavage in game, the Japanese release both thankfully allowing the woman's breasts to be visible. The Amazon store pages for both the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 versions of the Western release had a screenshot of a cutscene with cleavage censored as well. This was also a really disappointing situation to hear about because it was also censored on the Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo's been very good about censorship over the past few years. They haven't forced a lot of developers to tone down their titles. They're allowing people the choice of what they want to consume. Here is another instance of censorship from the beginning of April. It says Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers Edition censors Marcy's pantsuit, and this is because of Square Enix's internal ethics department. I've definitely talked about them a lot here on the channel, but basically this internalized ethics department is looking at the games and the content that developers are creating, and they're going, no, you can't do this, you have to change that. They're policing them from the inside of the company. It says Square Enix's newly launched remaster of Chrono Cross the Radical Dreamers Edition has unsurprisingly been found to contain the developer's signature political correctness, as curious players learned Marcy's pantsuit has been swapped out for shorts instead, sex appeal once again being demonized. A Twitter user provided screenshots comparing the original game from 1999 and the newly launched remaster, unveiling that her pantsuit are now shorts of some sort. It's always disappointing for me to see censorship, even if it's something as minor as this may be seen to people. It is still censorship. There are people out there who say, who cares if it's shorts instead of pantsuit? But it all matters because it's censorship. When you let one thing go, if you say one thing is okay, companies will take that and run with it. Then they'll change all of that type of content in a game, and then it will continue to get worse and worse until everything is censored and toned down, and everything is just a bland copy and paste of the game before it. It says the comical part of this censorship is the fact that the pantsuit were only shown for a short amount of time, yet Square Enix still considered this important enough to censor as per the narrative against feminine sex appeal. And we also unfortunately know that Sony is forcing developers to censor gore and violence now. This says Doki Doki Literature Club censored on PS4 and PS5. Blood changed to be black, so they're toning down violence, gore, sex appeal. I mean, there is a lot that they police now, and unfortunately, if you were planning to buy Amazing Princess Sarah on the PS4, just know that it was censored. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.